The numbers will be generated here 5, 7, but when it gets to 9, it stops from here and it breaks. So there is nothing else. Like the code's end here, there is nothing else that the for loop will give us. But if we are using continue, this is the syntax. Like you check the condition first. You check the condition first. You check the condition first, then you do something based on that condition. So you check the condition first. For example, uh, for example, let me have an example here. For example, you are filling a tank. You ask someone to fill a tank. So the tank. So you tell someone to fill this tank for you. So the person will check while the tank is not yet full. You continue pouring water. Otherwise, you stop pouring when the tank is completely full. So someone will be you. This is the capacity that we have. So we'll say, okay, don't worry about this. This will be covered. That is not that is not. We'll cover that. So once we come to logical and arithmetic operators and assignment operators. So don't worry about that. This means not. Let me just use not. So while the tank is not full, then you do something new. You continue pouring water. So while the tank is not full, you pour water. So there is something here that you are doing, because if you just leave it this way while the tank is not full, you pour water. This will continue forever because there is nothing that we are doing. Like we are supposed to have something here that will be changing the condition. If someone is pouring 10 liters at a run or 100 liters, then we'll have to update this. We'll have to update the capacity. Remember, we are starting from the initial capacity, we are starting from zero. So we are starting from zero. But as we continue, we are adding water to this tank. So as we continue pouring, maybe we are adding 100 liters. So this will continue. It will check. The first time you are starting, the tank is empty, so it is 0 liters. So it will go through it will go through the loop. It will check. Yes, the tank is not full. So it will pour water. It will pour 100 liters of water. Then the loop continues. It comes back to this position. The current capacity is 100. So it checks, is 100 full? The tank is not full because we are expecting 1,000 liters. So for the second time 100 is added, which make it 200. Then it goes again back to the loop. It checks the tank is not full. It adds another 100, which makes it 300. It goes another round. It checks the tank is not full, and it adds another until the capacity is 1,000. So once the capacity is 1,000, for our case, our tank is 1,000 liters. So it will assume that the tank is now full. And when the tank is full, you do what? You stop. So like the loop now stops. This condition is not true again. Like the tank is now full. We have said here while the tank is not full. Okay. So that is how the while loop is. That is what we mean here. While a given condition, you do something. For loop, you are saying, given this list, you want to do something to each and every item in that list. But for while loop, we are saying, while this condition is true, do something. While this condition is true, do something. We'll start with this one. This just an example. So we'll start with this one. So we are told here that the while loop repeats the block of code as long as certain condition is true, like the one that we've just seen here. And unlike the for loop, which iterates over the sequence, while loop continues running until the conditions become false. So it will continue running forever. Like for our case here, if we had not indicated, if we had not added this 100 liters, if we had not added 100 liters, it will continue running forever because this statement will be true forever. The tank will always be empty because the tank is 0 liters. The 0 liters, and we are checking is it full? It is not full. So this loop will run repeatedly or infinitely, and that is what we are saying here. We should avoid the infinite loops. What that means, when we are using loops, there has to be a condition. There has to be a condition inside the loop that will at some point make that loop to stop. Like for our case, if we just assume here that the tank is, we don't know the capacity. Like we don't know the capacity here. If we don't know that the tank is 1,000 liters, so we just say while the tank is not full. Obviously, it will not be full forever because we don't know the capacity for that tank. But once we know the capacity is 1,000, once we reach that 1,000, we will stop going through the loop. So there has to be that condition. Whenever you are using loops, there has to be a condition that will make the loop to stop at some point. So we can use break and continue also in while loop. We'll see how that is done shortly, but it is just the same as we said here. Break and continue. Once you understand the break and continue in the for loop, it is the same as in while loop. So let's start with this example here. We are saying while I here is just a variable, maybe representing numbers, while okay, sorry, I is equals to 1, and as long as I is less than or equals to 5, you print I. And you are seeing here we are adding. So let me show you something. Sorry for that. Okay, so let me just do it the way it is in our example so that we can see something else. So I is 1, that is the initial. Like just like the tank example that we were talking about. So we are saying while uh, uh, that always note the indentation. Hope you noticed when I started writing from here, there is an error here because we said the indentation is used to specify a given function or a loop. So while I is less than, we can even start with this one is less than 5, you print I. So while I is less than 5, you print I. If I do this one, I want you to see what we get. I want just to run the same code here. So while I is less than 5, you print I. I want you to see what's happening here. So this Python. Okay, this is the one that we are using. This is the file that we are using last week. As you can see here, one is being printed and it is repeated. As you can see, the the one will be printed forever unless you end that loop, unless you end that function manually. The reason is this is the infinite loop that we are talking about. As you can see, it has printed a lot of ones, and we are expecting to print as long as I is less than 5. So we've not printed other numbers because there is no condition here. We are not changing this number, so it will always be 1 forever. So we have to change this number. So we have to change. Maybe after printing I, we can now say I is equals to I plus 1. So we can do that. And once we print, we'll get the numbers from 1 up to 4 because we said while I is less than 5, while I is less than 5, you print I. And as you can see, that's printed from 1 to 4. Uh, Hope you can remember we said that you can do this. So instead of writing that way, but we'll still come back to that. Don't worry, once we get to do some calculations, we'll see how that is done. So this is the same as writing I is equal to I plus 1. So the I that we add, then you add 1. So every time you are going through the loop, you are adding 1. So if you wanted to add, if you wanted to look through the numbers all the way from 1 to 50, and we want to add maybe 3 each and every time we are running this code. So it will start from 1, and every time it is adding 3. As you can see here, so these are the numbers were created from 1 all the way up to 49, and the difference between these numbers is 3, as we've said here. Okay. So I want us to see the tank example that we talked about here, how we can do it. So I want us to see how we implement this uh, in our code. So I'm going to comment this one. I don't want to delete. In case you want to access this file, I can always share with you. That is why I don't want to delete whatever we are discussing in class, so that in case you need the file, I'll just share with you and you'll find all the examples that we used. So, so we are talking about the tank and the capacity of the tank. So, tank capacity is equals to 1,000 liters. Hope this case here we were using I. I can also use I here to represent the capacity of the tank. But you notice when I use the tank capacity, this name will help me to always remember. Like we said when we were talking about variables, always give a meaningful name to the variables. So once even if I give someone this code that I have written, they will be able to understand that I was talking about the capacity of the tank. So while you are allowed to do it this way, to use the single letters, you can always use meaningful names. Like here, we will have said maybe number, for example. Uh, so we are not restricted to use I, but always remember that it will be more advantage if you use the meaningful name. So the tank capacity is 1,000, and so the tank capacity is 1,000. So this is when it is full. When it is full, it is 1,000. Okay, I want to reverse this. I want to assume now that we are emptying the tank, or we can just go with this so that we see how we do it in the reverse. So the tank capacity is always 1,000. So the current capacity. Okay, let me do it this way. So the current capacity is 0. We are starting from 0 because the tank it is not, it is empty. We remember we are our intention is to fill this tank. So we are starting from 0. So we are using the while loop. We say while the current capacity is not equals to the tank capacity, while the current capacity, while the current capacity is not equals to, that is, this is not equals to in Python. So this is not equals to. Equals to will be this way. So I'm negating. So while the current capacity is not equals to the tank capacity, we do something. We do something. So I want every time this person that we've asked to fill our tank, I want to do it this way. Okay. Hope you can see the screen well. I want us to have this example aside here. Okay. Okay. So this is the tank that we are talking about. This is the tank that we are filling. So we want every time the capacity for our tank is 1,000. We've asked someone to fill this tank for us. We've asked someone to fill this tank for us, and we are saying here, while the tank capacity is while the current capacity. So we are starting. The tank is initially empty. We have asked someone to fill this tank, so it is initially empty. So while the tank is not full, you do something. We do what? We are adding. So we ask this person to add. So we may want to tell the person that is filling the tank, so that they know that they are still remaining with the current capacity. So that is optional. We may want to tell them the current capacity is this one. So using the string formatting, we will see about we'll have a session to do the string formatting, because it's much important. I intentionally left so that we can just have time dedicated for that. So don't worry about whatever. I'm just writing a statement here that the person that is filling the tank here will be able to know the current capacity of the tank. So this is how we are doing. So I want them to know the current capacity. So every time they are filling the tank, I want them to know the current capacity. So capacity now is that one, and they are adding. We agree that we are adding 100. So every time they are bringing 100 liters, so we are adding 100. So we will continue doing this while this is not equals to 1,000. While this is not equals to 1,000, we can optionally say here, while the current capacity is less than or equals. So we can say, while it is always less than this one, we do something. So once it is equals to this one, the statement will be negative. So but we can just do the same way we've done here. So I want us to run this code so that we see what how this tank will be filled. Okay, let me run so that we see it. So as you can see, the current capacity now is, so it starts from 0. The first time they are coming, it is 0. They add 100, and you can see it goes all the way up to 900. What is so the first time it is 0, the second time it is 100, and it goes all the way. So the reason that happens is because I have said, while the current capacity is not equals to the tank capacity. Once it is equal, it will stop. So it stopped at 1,000. So if we want to go up to 1,000, we will use here while the tank is while the tank is while the current capacity is less than. So while it is less than the tank capacity, you do what? We continue adding. So we will keep adding. We'll keep adding until until we get to 1,000. So let's try that. So once we said while it is less than the tank capacity, it will keep. So this is while the current capacity is less than the tank capacity, it will keep adding. So once we say while it is less than or equals to, this 1,000 here will be included. Okay, let me run this the code here. So as you can see, 1,000 now is added because we said here while the tank while the current capacity is less than or equals. So we'll check if it is equals to this one, we stop at that point. And this is how the person will fill the tank. This is how the person will fill the tank here. So the loop will go all the way. So the loop will continue running until this condition is met. So that is how the tank will be filled. Okay. We said we can reverse this. Now we want to empty the tank. We want to empty the tank. So the tank is now full. For us to empty the tank, okay. I just want to copy this code here. So the tank capacity will be the tank capacity is 1,000. It is full, and the empty. So this will be empty. So this will be empty. So we expect the tank when it is empty, it is empty capacity. Hope you notice what I did. In let me analyze so that you can see. Okay, in VS Code, you can always change all the values at the same time, the same values. I wanted to change this one to be the, the empty value. So if I want to change all this current capacity, I'll just click one, then Control D to select all of them. And once I've selected, I can just change all of them like that. So I can just change all of them like that. So while the tank, so this time it is while the tank is not empty, while the tank is not empty. So let me just leave it that way. So we are the tank capacity is it is full, which is 1,000. We want to reverse this one. So so we are saying while the tank is not equals to this one. So we are reversing this one. We are starting from the current capacity. While the tank capacity is while the tank capacity is not equals to 0. So we cannot either use this one. We can say while the tank capacity is greater than or equals to. So while the tank capacity is greater than or equals to 0, you keep removing some. Okay, you keep pouring out water from the tank. So while the tank capacity, which is full, is not equals to. So this is the current capacity that we are using. So we can say now the empty tank. So while it is not empty. While it is not empty, we do something. So while it is not empty, you can say the capacity now is, remember we are using the tank capacity. We are not using the empty because this is our intention to empty the tank. So we say every time we are we are reducing the number of liters, or we are taking away some water. So we are subtracting. So every time it is more than zero, or there is something in the tank, then you do something. Then you do something. Okay. So we are reversing this condition. We are reversing this condition here, and once we run this code, let me clear so that we can see it well. So as you can see, the current capacity now is 1,000 because we are starting here from 1,000. This is the tank capacity, and we are emptying the tank. So while it is still greater than zero, we do what? We continue subtracting. So as you can see, the person that will be pouring out water will know that the current capacity it is full. Uh, it is full when they are starting. Then they start subtracting from 900 all the way up to zero. So that is how while loops works. We can use the break and continue here. So we can even use the break and continue here. We can say if the tank capacity is equals to 500. So we are emptying the tank, but once it is 500, so maybe you are giving out water, but you want to make sure that you remain with some water, maybe for personal use. So you can say always give out water, but when it gets to 200 liters, you stop giving out water. So we'll say we are using break because we said continue will just jump out of the loop and continue giving other values except the one that we skip. But once it is 200, you want to make sure that you remain with some water. So once we run this code, as you can see, it will go all the way. So it will start from 1,000 coming all the way to 300. But once it gets to when it's get to 200, it will jump out of the loop. So that person will not pour water beyond 200 liters. Okay, so this was an example. Like you keep doing that again and again and again. Uh, so the same way we are doing with the tank, I think we can just start out with that so that we build on it next time. I had said that the session will be 30 minutes, but I realized that this is becoming a bit long. So I just want us to see something so that you see where the while loops apply in real life. So let me comment everything here. So let me comment everything here, and let me leave that page so that we are only here. So what the lottery companies does, something I think even that they have a secret number. So they have a secret number which is uh, which is usually a random number. So it is usually a random number, but for us for today we are going to use a fixed number. So they usually have a secret number. We'll see how to generate random numbers once once we get to the maths and the maths part, maybe next week. So we have the secret number. Maybe the number is 6, and we have the number of attempts. The number of attempts. Okay, I I I think the lot of companies have they give someone many attempts, but some in some case in some games like the one that you played with computer, you are given some chances. Once you miss for maybe you have 3 attempts to guess that number. Once you miss the 3 attempts, then you've lost, and or the other person will have maybe win. So we have the number of attempts. So the number of attempts initially it is 0, or initially it is 0, but you are given maybe maximum of 3 attempts. So and then now you are given a chance to choose a given number. So for today, I want us to assume the number of attempts. I want us to just use a single attempt. Either you get the number or you miss the number, because having the number of attempts and running the secret number at the same time will be will be using the 2 loops. So we'll be using a loop inside a loop. I don't want to go to that direction for now, because that concept it may be challenging to you to understand at this point. I want just to have one so that you can try work and go. You can try to go and work with this. Then we come and build on that. So we have the secret number, and we have the numbers that we are choosing from. So if we can use the range function that we are talking about to generate the list, or we can just have the list of numbers. So we can so we say while so we have someone is guessing the numbers. So someone is guessing the numbers. So while the number is not equals to this number here, is not equals to 6, you keep running the loop. You keep allowing people to participate in that competition, unless this number is unless this number is unless this number has been guessed correctly. So so we have the numbers that users are giving us. So we can say the guess. So we have the guess. We assume it is 0 in the first place, and we are skipping the number of attempts. We will build on that. So while the guess is not equals to while the guess is not equals to the secret number, you do something. Maybe we ask users to give us to guess the game. So we ask users to guess the game. So uh, like guess is equals to, hope you can I'm collecting the input from user. So I'm collecting the input from the user, and as you note, I'm converting it to integer because we are working with numbers. So make a guess. So someone will make a guess, and as long as this number is this the number that we have here is not equals to the secret number, the the people will continue making guesses. As you've noted, sometimes they go to weeks, months, unless someone gets that number. So so someone will be asked the number. As long as it is not 6, we continue asking. So if it is equals to 6, we break. If it is equals to 6, the loop will end. So this is the simplified version. We'll make it more complicated next week to have the number of atoms. Let's run and see what. what this gives us. So as you can see, I'm asked to make a case. So I make a case, the number is 2. I'm asked also to make a case because I remember our secret number here is 6. So I make a case, I guess 5. Remember this person is paying money to make the case. So our case, we are not paying anything to make the case. So we make the case, the number is not equals to 6. We make the case. So, and we'll have the provision maybe to tell someone that they made the wrong guess. I just want to avoid many things for today. So someone will be told that they almost got the number to try again. And if the number is 6, the loop will the loop will end. So the loop will end, and maybe you'll have the message showing or congratulating someone for making the right guess. So that is how while loop can be used in a real life. You can use while loop in a real life to solve the real life examples.